need.
Dramatic cinematic, bitches.
Check us out, dramaticcinematic.com. Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the TCEvent podcast. I am your host, Mugumbo. With me on this wonderful week of May is Mr. Mike Wycliffe.
Hello.
And Mr. David DeMoss.
Oh, hi, Internet.
We are so lucky Dave didn't have a better movie to go do instead of joining us. But that's okay. He's here with us. I was really thinking that maybe one of you guys would have ditched out to go see the Great Gatsby. No Great Gatsby fans in the house tonight? No?
We'll see what happens next week when Star Trek opens.
Yeah, no Baz Luhrmann fans in the house.
No Baz Luhrmann fans. The Great Gatsby.
Gatsby is a douche.
I wouldn't mind seeing it in 3D, like because that's the way Great Gatsby should be. 3D.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Hip-hop.
It's the most thrill-seeking,
pulse-pounding, action-packed piece of early 20th century literature, like ever.
Buildings were higher.
It reminds me. I mean, it really does. Reminds me of what the '90s Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. The douchebaggery of modernism with classicnism of just fucking awfulness. I don't know.
And in this case, the best thing I've heard so far is that this time he fuses the Roaring '20s aesthetic with the modern gangster rap aesthetic, and I'm like, thanks, Baz.
Which is just exactly what I envisioned when I read it.
I was almost curious about seeing it when it hit video, and then you said with gangster rap, and I'm like, nah, never mind, I'm done.
Exactly, because I'm like, thanks, Baz. You and every other rapper since the early '90s. I mean, it's great that he's catching up with the rest of us, but
Yeah, I don't know what it is about. Just let's not come up with our own fucking ideas. But there is some things that Mr. Wycliffe here sent me in his email that seem like sort of fresh ideas. The new Simon Pegg movie, that trailer was awesome. What was it? End of Earth?
World's End.
World's End.
It's about these guys who, they 20 years later, they decide to finish the pub crawl that they didn't finish 20 years ago, and in the process, they become the only people who can save the world from all accounts. They're really kind of being secretive about what's in the trailer. I mean, about what's in the movie. But the first thing that came to my mind was obviously it was very Shaun of the Dead like, but it made me feel like aliens are the new zombies. We're going to be seeing more and more alien terrestrial type beings, which can be anything, or any sort of shape and form or abilities. But zombies, you just can't make any more zombie movies. Well, this year's thing is end of the world flicks.
There's that, yeah. There's that, and I would say that aliens are actually the old zombies.
Sure. I mean, yeah, the classic. I mean, like Aliens been around forever. Longer than we imagined.
The flying saucers. I mean, shit. Those guys weren't exactly the most, personable alien invaders. They didn't really have much to them. And
you also have to remember that, these movies, they call them the Cornetto trilogy, which basically just means that they're the same people kind of involved. But Shaun of the Dead was their take on a zombie movie. Hot Fuzz was their take on a buddy cop movie, and this looks like it's their take on a sci-fi end of the world movie,
which is great because I might actually want to see this.
Well, they did the sci-fi movie with Paul, right? I mean,
well, that wasn't
awesome.
Edgar Wright. Though.
No, that was him. No, that wasn't him. He was off.
That was Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, but Edgar Wright was off doing.
What was he doing?
Scott Pilgrim.
Oh God. Okay.
Which I love Scott Pilgrim.
Sure.
Ooh, we gonna have a talk about that someday.
Oh no. Speaking of things people love or hate, do you remember the 80s?
You remember the 80s, don't you?
No.
I learned something important this week, a lesson that I thought everyone knew, and that's if you're going to shoot heroin should be good enough for you. But if you got to start mixing heroin and cocaine together to get your fix, it's probably time to get help. Or maybe it's just too late. I don't know, but it took John Belushi from us, all right? And the speedball, the heroin cocaine mix, whatever the attraction it is for people, but so we lost. So basically, it's just Kross. There is no more Kriss.
Yeah,
It's
you know what?
just
If we want to
Kross.
be sad about somebody, let's be sad about Ray Harryhausen.
I don't have a sound clip for Ray Harryhausen.
Well, that's
is-
because he made things that looked awesome.
Ooh, but I am showing a picture right now of something that looks awesome in memory of him. So
Okay.
And I really should have sent you the trailer for the 7th voyage of Sinbad. If everyone out in Radioland should look that one up. Because that's the one.
Is that the comedian that was on Different Strokes, or not Different Strokes, but
No,
Different
I'm
World?
talking about the folk hero.
He wore
the
cross colors all
swashbuckling
the
hero
time.
who rescued princesses and slayed monsters and
So
fought
it's
fucking
not
skeletons.
it's not the stand-up comedian that nobody likes.
No,
or
it's
remembers.
not the stand-up
the
comedian.
cool Sinbad. This is the Sinbad people want to be
Oh, the one that was like part of the Xena universe.
for like a second, yeah. And that trailer
Let's
is
just say yes and move on.
And that
Man.
trailer is the one that goes on and on about Dynamation, which is why I always remembered it.
But speaking of trailers, they released a lot of good stuff this week as far as trailers go. I mean, we talked about The World's End a little bit. They also released a trailer for Ender's Game, but that's about as much as I want to talk about it because, fuck Orson Scott Card.
Oh, but there's a whole socio-political nexus surrounding him that we could talk about for like hours and hours.
But we're not going to do that because this is a short show.
Yep. That's right. So, new Coen Brothers.
New
movie.
Coen Brothers, which makes me extremely happy.
Boy, what a
Because I love
dry
the
trailer,
Coen
though. What a very, but at the same time, I mean, I kind of like that. I mean, it was kind of like Royal Tenenbaum-y,
Well,
as far
they're
as
always
just
a little dry. I mean,
They
remember
don't
the
give
trailers
away
for, like,
their
Barton
jokes in
Fink
their
and
trailers.
Hudsucker?
Well, good
Yeah.
point there, Dave. Good point there, Dave. Like,
They
I'm
don't give
I'm
away
a
their
dapper
fucking jokes
Dan,
like
man,
every
damn
other
it.
comedy out there, right?
But all they had to do was put, oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck. Well, there
actor
goes our fucking rating.
John Goodman. Wow, I'm having that kind of night tonight.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
they had to do was put John Goodman on the screen, and I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, I do like me some Goodman.
And then there's a random Dean Koontz novel that's, although my
Not-
thing auto-corrected it to the word knowledge,
Yeah,
there's a
not-
Dean Koontz novel that is coming out as a movie called Odd Thomas.
Not random at all. Not
And
random at
I
all.
like it. It looked very interesting, kind of in the esque of John dies at the end, kind of
Kind of
feeling.
seems a little that way, yeah.
Little black
this one
black
stars
comedy.
Anton Yelchin, who plays Chekhov in the new Star Trek movies.
Chekhov,
He's
Smirnoff.
also in the new Fright Night.
In my country, the ship flies you. No.
Yes, so in
Yeah,
our
off.
country, the dead talk to you. And this is not odd at all if you have watched Dean Koontz's career with the, somewhat
I know this is one you've been
masochistic
trying to do.
interest that I have. No, well, I'm a reformed Dean Koontz fan myself, and he has been pushing the character for which this movie is named.
The guy that was on Ripley hosted Ripley's Believe It or Not, right?
No, the guy who wrote Watchers.
Didn't he write
remember-
what the movie there, the book that Phantoms is based on too?
Which was called Phantoms, yes.
Okay.
Phantoms like, word,
He
bitch,
played
Phantoms
Superman
like a
on
motherfucker.
TV show.
well,
Superman.
yeah, that's where I was going.
And so, but he hasn't written anything worth a damn in about 20 years. And so the last 10 years or so, he's been pushing this character and his attendant series on the rest of us. And basically, Odd Thomas is the adult version of that kid from The Sixth Sense.
Oh, okay. That's
with,
really all you had to say.
Yeah.
I see dead people.
He does, and he talks to them, and they talk to him, and they have wacky adventures.
All right, so
But I mean,
in
the movie
other
actually looks
news,
kind of like fun. It's got Anton Yelchin and Willem Dafoe, so yeah.
And they are both aiming for franchise roles. I guarantee you. That's why
speaking
this
of
made
franchise roles,
itself into a movie. Yeah.
the new Days of the Dead banner or I'm sorry, card has been updated with some of the guests. Angus Scrimm, who is who I'm probably the most excited to see. The wife is
That's not who you're most excited to see.
Well, yeah, the Haruo Nakajima. Nakajima.
The
Original
man in the suit
Godzilla.
for Godzilla.
Man in the suit. There's going to be 3 people from Cabin Fever there, Mike. And remember, that's the one I hate. That's the one I hate. Cabin Fever so much. Cabin in the Woods, great movie. I have confused the two, which I feel horrible about now.
Similarities of title. It happens.
The guy that played Triangle Man in Silent Hill.
You two. I wasn't here to say this last week, but one of you two had, at the very least, better get to see Nakajima-san because
it's going to happen.
See. Yeah, I believe it probably will. Hey, Gary Busey and Jake Busey. Do you think is Hackers available on Blu-ray? Because I'd love to get Jake
I don't
Busey
think
to
so,
sign.
but I'm going to take my copy of Frighteners for Jake Busey.
Ooh, yeah. Well, Frightener, sure. That's actually what he's listed as. Or SLC Punked. That's the other one.
I read something.
That's a great movie.
And it's not in the notes, but I read something earlier this week, and I have nothing to back it up. But supposedly they're working on a sequel to SLC Punk with the original cast.
Really? What their their grandkids?
I have nothing to back it up. I saw somebody mention it on Twitter, and then I got a help desk call, and I had to walk away. So I haven't had any chance to follow it up, and I'd forgotten about it until you said the words SLC Punk.
Oh,
no. Crazy.
So there's that.
It'd be like someone doing a sequel to
there's
Trainspotting, which Irvine Welsh did, and it sucked.
So remember, folks, Days of the Dead, July 5th, 6th, and 7th here in Indianapolis, Indiana. You come to Days of the Dead, you can meet us. You can buy a T-shirt off
Maybe
my
we
cell
can put that
phone that will be
podcast.
shipped to your house with a markup in cash for merchandise at the show. Anyway, so
Back to the trailers real quick. One of the things I was most excited to see was that Alfonso Cuarón's new movie, Gravity.
yes.
People have been talking about for a long time. It's been a long time coming, and it looks like it's basically going to be George Clooney and Sandra Bullock, and that's it. Out in space.
And that's what made it look so interesting. I love the simplisticness of script writing like that. That's why I like Pontypool so much. Was they're trapped in one area, and it's just the two characters acting off on one another. And that whole situation, that trailer, dude, was intense. I mean, it was intense.
But see, that's part of the problem because it's going to have to be. It all rests squarely on them being able to be likable and act. And
I could see George pulling
They can
it off.
do both, but they can't. Those two people can't always do both at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you think she'll
So
do that?
it'll be interesting to see. It's not like they're Sam Rockwell and Kevin Spacey, and Kevin Spacey wasn't even on the screen most of the at all. So
Or Sam Worthington.
So do you think she'll do the "You wanna hug me, you wanna kiss me"? Yeah,
No.
yeah, I did. I just made that fucking reference.
yes, you did.
Whoop whoop.
Come
take
there's
my
a
man
trailer
card.
out.
Come
there's
take
a trailer out now for a Captain Harlock movie, an animated movie based on an old manga that some people are aware of, and if you're aware of it, you love it. And the trailer looks pretty fucking amazing.
And I love how your email on this reads in all caps, Captain Frickin' Harlock. Straight
Yeah,
at
basically.
exclamation points.
I might have been a little excited.
I take it we have I was going to say, we have a Captain Harlock fan in the house.
I like Captain Harlock. Plus, it looks gorgeous. It just looks gorgeous.
That much is true. Yeah.
It'll be nice. I doubt we'll see any kind of actual release here in the U.S. in theaters because that kind of stuff doesn't get released in the U.S. in theaters because it's not a kids movie, but it's an animated movie.
Yeah. good
Which is
point.
sad, but
We'll have to wait for
there was-
DVD.
when Steam Boy, which is the last thing the last animated non-kids movie I saw in a theater came out, it played in one theater here in Indianapolis, and that was it. and
that's-
we're supposed to be one of the bigger cities in the U.S.
Yeah, it's pretty
Not
much
the
the same
biggest.
for me. And I'm out here on the left coast,
Well-
and we'll get